Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a best of 3 between two brilliant players. Here in the bottom left spawning as our red Terran player, it is Bunny. And in the top right as our blue Zerg playing for Team Ents Esports. Let it be Serral. Sending out his first few links across the map off of a, well, seemingly a pool first. Must be a 16 pool timing here. As we have no scout coming out of Bunny. What in the world are you? What? What is this? Is this amateur hour over here with Serral? What an uncharacteristic mistake here from our Finnish Zerg in the first 2.5 minutes of this game. Opening with a pool first and just straight up sending the first 2 links through the middle of the map. And thus getting spotted by that Reaper, allowing Bunny to send his first Reaper straight away across the map because he killed 1 Ling. He says, hey, I saw 2 Lings, I killed 1 of them. My Marine, or wait, there's a second Reaper? My second Reaper can deal with a second Ling. Now, my friend, it's time for me to go deal some damage. And I can also scout with my Reaper what you're doing. Did not manage to quite spot that Roach Warren though. That's a little bit unfortunate. There's a third base on the way already for Serral, but I'm not quite sure if that is actually going to be capable of tricking Bunny into anything here. These Reapers, look at that. Bang, bang, bang. Pew, pew. 1 more grenade. Yes, in the back is going to hit once more. This queen is falling pretty low in HP already. Overlord is on the way. First 3 roaches coming out as well. We have a starport rather quickly here, as well as a reactor for the factory. Hellions being pumped out at a high pace. 7, maybe 8 or 9 roaches. No, it's just going to stick with 7 roaches for now. Is Serral. Followed up most likely with a bunch of drones as the Reapers once again get into the main base. And they spot the roaches popping out just in time. As we immediate pull away. Like, not quite sure if that's completely necessary here, but it's nice to pull them away at some point in the near future. Marauder is going to get produced rather than straight away popping into a Banshee. Bunny believes that he can get away with this bunker and pushing a couple of units into that. 29 seconds on the bunker. It started fast. There's 9 more seconds on the timer here. First 2 roaches making their way across the map, followed by 3 more. This SCV might need to be refreshed. A couple of good Reaper grenades, though, could potentially save it. Second bunker will not finish up as this Roach seemingly got bopped over the fence. Another SCV gets taken out. This was a great defense here coming out of Bunny. Bunny with a follow-up Viking. Second bunker can be cancelled. This depot will finish up. And we have a third CC on the way immediately. A fantastic start here for a South Korean Terran player who holds this without taking any real damage. Keeps the wall alive. Has a Marauder out. And... ooh, what was that? Capable of denying scouting, I think, here. Well, Serral did see that this reactor wasn't in use anymore, so maybe he knows that the factory flew away. Otherwise, there's still the potential for maybe some type of, like, more Hellions, a Hellion run by, something of a Hellion drop. You never know what's going to happen here. So this Viking that killed an Overlord already is going to make its way across the map, and the Hellions moving in for a potential run by. Well, and if they get in, perhaps they can deal some damage. One worker's gonna be... he's locked in prison over here. That 1 drone as these Hellions are actually gonna get taken out by these roaches. Bunny throwing away 4 Hellions there. I like the thought of it though. I really did like the thought of that. If you can hit a Zerg while they're rebuilding drones after a failed attack, it can really hurt for Zerg players. It can really, really hurt. Serral already is struggling getting creep out. If he also struggles getting an eco, he's just gonna die against the first push that Terran can throw at him. So, yeah, I like what Bunny went for. On top of that, Hellion is just going to be a lot less useful in actual creep tumor harassment or like minor queen damage dealing when there's already roaches out on the map, right? Serral can just split the roaches 4-4 and these Hellions will not be capable of doing very much. Now, you could say later on in the game maybe Hellions can turn into Hellbats. They can actually do something somewhat useful. Like either defend the base against Ling run-bys or whatever, but we see that Serral's plans here are to go into Glial Reconstitution, into this double Evo chambers. Now, could be for 2 things. Could either be for range upgrades and carapace, but we could also see something that we have seen him do, is when he struggles in the early game, is that he gets a bunch of roaches out while simultaneously getting the melee upgrades, and that allows him to actually go into that type of Ravager Ling Bane style that we've seen him play every now and again, Does not seem to be the case here. This is instead going into a... well, it's either going to be swarm host, infestors, or lurkers. And most likely it's going to be a combination of the infestor lurker. So a couple, like, attack into lurkers as fast as possible. And then in order to kind of retain some safety, you add 3, maybe 4 infestors to hold a big tank marine push. We'll have to wait and see what Bunny's actual plans are going to be. This is not a situation in which Serral is necessarily super comfortable. He can, of course, play this type of Roach style. Oh yeah, look at that. Infestors coming out actually before anything else. That just means that lurkers are going to be delayed even more. So it will give the safety earlier on, but perhaps at a point where it's not quite necessary yet. Defending creep is extremely difficult with this type of composition. Defending against minor harassment is always going to suck as well, because you just don't have the quick rotational speed that you would have with these big Ling Bane defenses, where... you know, Lings have extremely high movement speed, especially on creep, of course, and that allows them to basically always be in position. However, with Roaches, it is difficult to die. So, Serral is giving up map control, is giving up the ability to run by, the ability to deal counter damage, all of that for the sake of safety, for the sake of staying alive into this game and eventually taking into these lurkers. And in a way, this is a way of disrespecting your opponent. In a way, this is saying, hey, I believe I'm so much better than you in the late game that if I get there and I'm semi-alive, I'm still going to be capable of beating you. This is if you were in a boxing match and you know that your opponent is going to gas out in like the 9th round. So as long as you don't get KO'd before, like in the first 9 rounds, you're just going to be fine. You know, your stamina is so much better, and all you need to do is just stay alive. And once you get there, you will win no matter what, no matter how bad your first few rounds were. And that's basically the case here with Serral, because he had a terrible start of this game with this filled Roach rush, and now with this ultra safe follow-up. Oh my god, it's actually transitioning into quick melee. This is not how we usually see this being played, but I kind of dig it. So rather than sticking with a very heavy ranged upgrade focus, he wants to be capable of doing run-bys with these links, and we see a melee upgrade being built already. It's off. We don't see this a lot. We actually never see this. The only other player that really likes playing this type of Roach style is Dark, another player that's extremely competent in those late games that we see in this matchup. So yeah, I'm surprised by this. Because this is not how it usually plays out. Usually we see players like Dark and sometimes Serral just straight up rush into them lurkers, get a bunch of Vipers out, take a defensive 4-base position, and eventually take it to a 5th, as we have a little bit of a fight here. These drops are going to be pushed back, but as we can see, the creep is, well, garbage. 5th base is difficult to establish here. If Bunny is paying attention, his base honestly would have been killed already. But luckily for Serral, that's not the case here. And instead, this drop is going to get stopped. We'll be forced to pick up and move somewhere else. Nidus network on the way. So this could be the type of punch, you know, that could definitely land here in the early phases of the late game. Where if you let a Nidus get up into your main base, 8-9 Ultras pop out, you don't have a Ghost count, you don't have Liberators out, yeah, that could potentially be game ending. And this is kind of like a noob check in a way. It's saying like, hey, are you looking at the minimap? Are you paying attention to what I'm doing? Because that Nidus most likely is going to pop off into the main base. Do we have Overlord speed? No, we do not. So if an Overseer is going to be used, it will be a slow Overseer. I'd love for this first Nidus to actually be in the main rather than use it as a rotational tool. But it's hard to say what is actually going to happen. A player like Dark most likely would put it in the main base, but Serral tends to be a little bit more safe and really believes in his ability to kind of go around and outplay his opponent. So it's completely viable or completely possible. He puts the first Nidus over here, second Nidus over here, and really just uses it as a rapid rotation tool, saying, hey, I'm going to deny that 5th base again and again and again, no matter what happens. We start here with an initial push out near the 3rd. Depot wall is going to get taken out. Now, this honestly gives quite some value later on in the game, this depot wall, as Baneling run-bys and Ling run-bys will now be possible for Serral. Overseer moving into position to probably go into a main base, but Overseer gets taken out before it ever reaches. We have the enhanced shockwave being researched already right now for Bunny, as this, what is this 12, 13 marine drop is going to get stopped here as well. This base has plenty of tanks. I don't think this should be much of an issue. There's still some Vipers alive, So we have a Roach run by here, which should not be capable of doing anything, honestly. Roaches are so bad in these types of situations. Practically like dead meat. Like it just... You don't really want to have it in your comp, but you also can't just throw it away for free because you're not that rich most of the time when you play something like this. This is a good counter drop, by the way. That we're seeing here. This is an interesting push as well out of Bunny, managing to completely bust this pure lurker position. Well, maybe not completely busted, but get pretty darn close to it. Tanks are going to get taken out. Is this final lurker? Will it fall? Yes, it will. These two Marines take it out. 9 drones get taken out. This drop is still going on as well. It's going on and on and on. Just lingering on in between that natural and that. I think this was initially the 3rd or the 4th base. I think that's the 4th base there out of Serral. Serral does have a lot of supply, had some decent trades, has 103 workers at this point as well. Still has the Nidus network that hasn't been used yet, and more importantly hasn't been scouted yet either. Ghost count is rising though, and with the tank numbers that are here, 11, you would feel that Bunny is in a pretty decent position, right? I don't feel like he can just die in the next few seconds. I like this planetary, kind of in this kind of intermediate position. So it's like not too far forward, not too far back. It covers decent ground. It helps. We'd love to see like a tank in the back a little bit further. We have Bunny trying to clear some creep on the right side. That's a real issue for him because there is a lot of creep there. Left side is pretty much devoid of any creep whatsoever. As these ghost and tanks are dealing with a minor attack that was happening here at the 3rd base. Bunny looking to take a 5th soon though. He really needs to. His worker count isn't all that high. And he needs to just take a 5th at some point in the near future. Hasn't really started his 3-3 yet either. Just prefers rushing into these ghosts, getting the vehicle weapons, double tank production still going on. Almost feel like he's doubling down too hard on the tanks at this point in a way. It's like, yeah, tanks are really good in these situations, but are they this good in this situation? I don't actually know. 13 tanks, 14 tanks to run away, that's 16 tanks. You're pretty much disabling yourself from ever moving out again. It's like saying, hey, like this is not a mobile army that can push into positions. This is an army that can hold positions rather well as long as there's no Brute Lords. But the moment Brute Lords come out, this army becomes practically useless because tanks just suck massively against Brutes. Yeah, this is odd. Very, very odd. It almost feels like too many tanks. 16. I'd say 11 is really the max. And on a map like Waterfall, I mean, you have 4 over here, 1 in the middle, 3, 4 in this area. That should be plenty. It would be different if Serral is trying to attack into this. That would be a huge error. This is not correct. This is not correct here, Serral. You cannot attack into this position. There's so many tanks. Ghost in the back as well. Planetary needs to be lifted. Gets cancelled and lifted. Liberators stay alive as well. We saw 4 tanks go down, but this was a very efficient trade. I believe it was for Bunny. Bunny, who's up in general in that resources lost, now capable of kind of countering. Well, it's not a real counter attack because honestly this base isn't that far away. But we'll take out this base that Serral was trying to take. Serral probably needs to think about grabbing this bottom right side, because we're eyeing a split map scenario here. And in split map scenarios, I really just favor the Terran player. Both players mine as much as one another. Serral's only advantage right now is that possibly he can mine more in this game. But in order to do that, he's gonna need one of these bases. Either this one or this. And this one seems, well, kind of impossible right now because there's ghosts chilling. This is a weird move out of the Bunny. These ghosts are going to get surrounded. There's no overseer though with this army. That means that they get to escape. Ghost count is only at 5. Once again, tank count is being replenished back up to 16. Interesting playstyle, very interesting playstyle. I'm not necessarily saying it is bad, because Bunny obviously is a very solid Terran player. It's just different from everything that I've seen in the past. Usually Terrans prefer higher ghost count because it's a more flexible unit in the later game transitions. When these Brute Lords come out, you usually see ghosts still being useful, while tanks not as much anymore. So doubling down on those tanks really indicates a kind of a want to stay in this stage of the late game where Serral's continuously throwing units into you and he never really transitions out of this. You want to play against a high drone Zerg player who is on that lower tier tech, and Serral needs to realize what's going on here. He needs to say, hey, your ghost count is extremely low. Your bio count is very low. You have very little mobility. I need to lose drones right now, and I need to get into a higher tier army, a higher tech army. That's not what's happening, as more banelings are being sent in here right now. Infantry weapons level 3 is about to finish up. All of these trades, despite them looking okay-ish here for Serral, are probably still bad, because you're trading banelings into tanks, which is most of the time not going to be so great. It was 17k to 12 before these last few fights. Now it's 25 to 19-ish. So not the worst trades, but also not efficient trades. And that is something that we do need to keep an eye on right now, as it's becoming more and more clear that Bunny is going to be mining his half of the map. A lot of tanks here not being sieged. This is perhaps an opportunity for Serral to take out a planetary, and indeed it is going to be an opportunity for that. He manages to take out the planetary. His command center is like, well, if that base gets taken out, then no point in taking this forward rich extractor. Just gonna stay, just gonna go back. Morph into a planetary over here. Bunny has lost a couple of workers once more. Up to 11 tanks still. I'm building more and more Marines and Ghosts. Marine count surprisingly high this late into the game. Often doesn't feel super worth it, but perhaps a good unit for trading in this type of scenario. I think that Bunny might be misinterpreting his position a little bit. I don't want to be a mind reader, but I think that right now Bunny believes that Serral is pretty much broke. And that the key to victory is going to be a lot of quick pushes into this type of base, and then perhaps even pushing further forward. We can see how aggressive Bunny is expanding as well. I mean, he tried taking this base already. He's trying to take that bottom right side base as well, kind of at a similar time. He's already taken out that hatchery once, and this command center has been flying over this general area for a while too. Serral now pretending like his hotkeys weren't working for the entire game. This has to be one of the most discouraging things, by the way. 18 minutes in, and just then the other guy's like, maybe I should take it serious and actually fix my hotkey issue that I've had before. He's like, didn't think I'd need hotkeys versus you, but apparently you're pretty decent at the game, so going to going to actually set them up real fast for you. That could just be that one of the hotkeys didn't work. This was played at an offline event, and there's always issues that you run into. Look at how heavy on Marines this army is, by the way. See that? 34 Marines, 19 minutes into the game. Really different style from what we see a lot of the times in this matchup. So we have our first Brood Lords right now popping out. It's 9 Brutes to be exact. And now we might start moving into that area where I saw issues with earlier. Now imagine this was still those 16, 17 tanks. Even now it's 11 tanks. And I think that is actually an issue. I don't think that Bunny has the tools to keep this position. I think, oh, I love this. Just a big rotation immediately, saying, hey, I can't keep that position? Yeah, you're right. I'm just going to rotate towards the other side. My army takes out bases faster than yours. Good luck, brother. Enjoy yourself. And he flies away with the command center, takes out the rich extractor gas over here, and is pushing in. He sees, well, there's actually not all that much. Maybe I can take out this base at the same time. Serral forced to pull a lot of these drones away, and more scans coming out of Bunny over here. A couple of snipes perhaps in the works. No. We get some good pickups on those tanks. We need an army on the left side right now. Absolutely. The most important thing is to not be backed into a corner and be forced to fight a fight you don't want to fight. Fungal from the back. This infestor has been lurking here for a very long time. Finally is going to be used. Broodlords moving forward, and Bunny in a world of trouble. Oh, Ghosts coming from the side. Overseers are in position to spot them, though. More and more Broodlings coming out on the map. Tanks finally sieging up, but will just be splashing their own units. A couple more snipes coming in. One Overseer still remains, and the Marines actually taking a pretty decent fight here. There's still 6, 7-ish Broodlords or so alive. 2 infestors, but almost nothing underneath it. There's no more Ghost available for snipes. There's not a single Thor on the map. I actually think that these Broodlords for now are going to be safe. This was an okay-ish fight for Serral, but he needs a win with it. Just this fight wasn't good enough. He needs to take out this base, and he needs a safe retreat with them Broodlords as well. At the same time, more links streaming in right now. This base kind of needs to be secured as well at the same time. Oh my god, Bunny's like, well, the right side isn't going too well. Let's take a look at the left side. Once again, lands that base over here. Starts morphing it into a planetary pretty soon, probably. Yep, there we go. We have an infestor moving into turret range. Planetary is going to push that away. Can we get a scan? Yes, we can. More ghosts are being popped out as Serral is... well, he's poor. He's not rich anymore. He is very, very poor. The man who won more than $1 million playing StarCraft 2 does not currently have the cash to really continue his extravagant spending in this game. Huge fungal though, hitting a lot of these Marines. Baneling finishes it off, but will lose the hatchery in the end anyway. Where's the Broodlords? They can't be in too vulnerable of a position. I like this. I really like this rotation here. That was a huge rotational move out of Serral. And Bunny completely getting caught out of position. Broodlord's kind of dodging the danger of the Ghost and the Thors and saying, hey, if I can take out this planetary, yes, you took out one of my bases, but I also took out one of yours on the bottom side. There's still some mining here on the right. If I can get this hatchery back up and running, maybe it's okay. But Bunny is having none of it and actually believes he can make a stand here. Snipe going down, one Broodlord falling low. There's no queens available to transfuse. And this planetary eventually should, yep, will fall. Baneling count is too low though to really engage onto this army. Vipers are here but are not being used. No abducts, no blinding clouds, no nothing. And the Broodlord count also isn't exactly what it should be at. Currently at 6. I think Serral has one more fight in him, and that's going to be about it. Bunny on the other hand, slightly more supply, still a little bit of a bank. And soon to be some extra mining as well as this another command center. This command center was really ambitious. I was like, yeah, I can own this one. And then we'll be demoted back to this Rich Vespine geyser, which in my mind is not really a demotion. It's slightly safer, and you get the Rich Vespine geyser. Surely that has to be nice. Out of the way of danger. Big fungal there on the Medivacs. We have a flank coming in with a lot of those links. Blinding Clouds hitting hard as well. Overseer gets popped. That's not the final one as one more comes in from the back. But these ghosts are very slippery and will remain slippery. Jumped in a can of loop this morning and these links will just slip by them. There's no Overseer to spot for them. 101 supply against 139, and despite Serral's best efforts after a failed early game, I do believe that this is going to be it. 10 workers have gone down on the sides of Bunny. We have good income here for Serral. We have crappy income for Bunny, but Bunny has the units. He has the army to back it all up, and with this hatchery falling, and ooh, actually this one's still mining. I was gonna say this game is over, and I still believe that it is over, but I did not realize the economic position that Serral was in. Of course, losing this top left side base really sucks, but look at this. Bunny is barely mining. What's the orbital count? It's only 4. Look, it's not like he has saved a lot of mules either. Bunny is kind of poor, honestly. He really is kind of poor. Serral once again is trying to pounce on his armor. That's obviously not going to be possible. GG gets called here. As Bunny takes the victory in game number 1, and we'll be heading into our second map. And after that first disappointing loss there for Serral, he says, you know, last game my pool first didn't work. This time it might. As he opens with a pool first, but is this different? I feel like the gas is really fast once more, actually. This is a lot of gas mining. I almost feel like this is going to be one more Roach push on Data C, though. Such a large map. It takes absolute months to go to the other side of the map. By the time a Roach reaches the natural of the opposing Terran, the battlecruiser is practically out already. It's insane. Like, a Roach leaves home, and his son is 2 years old. He arrives on the other side, and his son is a 45-year-old man with 3 kids himself. That is how long Data C is, and how quickly time flies by. Don't you remember when you were still in elementary school, throwing sand at the kids? The other kids, because you were a kid as well, so it's okay to throw sand at them. If you're a 45-year-old man right now and you're throwing sand at the other kids, there's something wrong with you, and please seek professional help. How do I miss those times when it was okay to throw sand at other kids? The golden days of life. Where was I? Right, links. We have metabolic boost as well being researched over here, and that's about halfway done. Honestly, not really feeling it. This is against the CC first. It's going to be 8 links. There will be probably nothing left, or nothing here yet, by the time this finishes. Although the first 2 cars are going to be quite close. Bunny is, I mean, this is a big investment. People don't realize this, but pool first into 8 links, into quick speed like this is significant. And taking out half a worker, I just don't think it's quite going to cut it. Here come the links. Okay, it's going to be 3 workers. Bunny, come on. Rally up. There we go. Needs to cancel this SCV as well. Needs to cancel. There we go. And restart immediately. Okay, 3 workers go down. 1 gets cancelled. So that's 4 less workers than he ideally would have. Is that enough, though? Is that enough? If you're Serral here, are you happy with this? You're probably okay with this. Yeah, you're probably okay with this. This is probably kind of as good as it's going to get, so I'm not quite sure what else he wants. 3 workers, 1 cancelled. That's 4 workers. He still has every single Ling alive, which is actually kind of big because he doesn't need to build any. The queen count is lower than ideally it would be at this timing, and the creep spread is going to be worse as well, but these are all things that Serral knew when he picked this build order, so he should be capable of playing around with it. Hatchery on the 3rd is finishing up as well. Another nice kind of side effect is that the Terran is very afraid right now of a future Ling round by. Like, this type of stuff usually doesn't... It just isn't 8 Lings. Usually it starts with 8 and then it's 24. Then there's Banelings busting down your wall. Like, it's one of the nice side effects here for Zerg if you open up with a build like this. It's a lot better side effects than most regular medication has, where you start, you know, diarrhea from your nose or might induce vomiting. This is like, oh, the Hellions might not appear on your side of the map. If you read that in like what you call it, like the notes, what do you call the little notes, the fine print with the medicine, if you were to read that, then it's like, man, it's okay, I can live with that. It's like, might accidentally kill all mosquitoes in your room. It's like, oh, I'm taking 3 of those. That sounds very good. Some nice side effects right there. Accidentally get the body of Arnold. It's like, whoa, don't mind me if I do. Win the lottery. But then I once read that people who win the lottery on average are less happy than when before they won the lottery. I have a couple of theories about that, which I cannot share. I believe that people that play the lottery, they don't actually want to win it, but they just want to believe that they can win it, so they can imagine certain things, you know? It's like how when you're in high school, you'd imagine what it would be like to storm out of the classroom and say, I don't need any of you anymore, you're all stupid, I'm going to live by myself, you know? It's best to just keep imagining that. The moment you actually do it, stuff usually goes wrong. You know, it's like, it's the same with winning the lottery. If you win the lottery, it feels good in the mind, you know? It's like, oh, I could do this and that. But then when you actually win it, it's kind of scary, and all your friends want your money. And you enter the millionaires club, and there's people that are richer than you all of a sudden, and it feels bad. They don't respect you as much because you didn't make your money in an honorable way, but you made a poor financial decision by buying a lottery ticket, and it paid off. You know, it's not cool. And then you become unhappy. I can completely see it. And this is why I will be selling lottery tickets without the chance of winning a prize. So you still get the dreaming, but there's 0 chance of winning. And that is patreon.com/harstem. Got him. Alright, sorry for that. Nothing happened in the game though. This was perfectly timed for the next push coming out. X6, it is a tight timing, by the way, out of my boy Bunny. Look at that. 24 Marines. Is this a 2-base? Oh yes, this is a 2-base indeed. Would you look at that? This is a massive push over here. 2 tanks, a crap ton of Marines, a couple of Hellions with it as well. Serral trying to defend this with Ravager Roach. Does he have that Glio Reconstitution yet? He does not, so he can't quite uber chase this, but he's going to at least chase this away from his creep. He says, not a mile on. You go do this crap somewhere else, you young buck. But not on my watch. Yeah, don't run up that ramp, Serral. It's not it's not the decision you want. There's not what you want to do here, okay? Just push them away from your ramp, you know, keep them off your creep, keep your lawn clean, but don't chase them all the way to their house. Then their dad might beat you up. 3rd tank has joined the party as well. This is really not posing any threat to Serral. Serral is looking at this, and he sniffs at this. Can you say that? He sniffs? Yeah. He blows his nose at it. He looks at this and he's like, yeah, I don't need these people. I don't need anything here. Already has the queens in the main. Oh my god, he's so ready for this crap. Look at that. Serral's so much better than everyone else. He smelled this. After sneezing at those units, he was like, I can smell again. And he smelled the double drop heading in towards the main base. Missile attacks level 1 as well as Carapace is about to finish up here. Once that... he already has an infestation pit. Serral is actually dreaming of the future here. But the future is never going to arrive. He's way ahead of his time, that's for sure. He's like a Roman emperor thinking of space travel. It's like, a little bit too early. Because I'm not quite sure if this infestation pit is ever really going to see any use in this game. Oh, he's actually going to get a hive. And he's gonna defend a 2-base push with Vipers or with Ultras. That, to be fair, is kind of a big flex. That is a pretty big flex. That would be if Julius Caesar flew onto the battlefield with a helicopter. You know, one of those pedal helicopters, like the early ones, or like a plane where you had to bike yourself in order to make it go. Those look beautiful. Wooden little planes. That's some great stuff. Here goes the triple drop once more. We'll enter the main base. And we'll leave the main base as quickly as well. That wasn't for Bunny. I kind of like what Bunny is doing here. Bunny realized that his push wasn't going to work. So instead what he did... This is actually a very old technique. And it wasn't invented by Sun Tzu and wasn't written about in the Art of War. But it was invented by a German Protoss player called Hasuops. Hold that thought as we have a big attack here into this position. Oh boy. Let me just ensiege all of my tanks in the middle of the fight. This is some big balls here. Yeah, this is called Hasuing. It is where you're pretending to attack, but actually you're maxing out, while your opponent is maxing out as well, but on an inferior army. So what Bunny hopes to do is to get like 5-6 tanks, 3-4 Liberators, and then eventually get to like 180 supply, and hope that his opponent stays on a Ravager Roach army. But because Serral was living in the future, he's already teching up to 2-2, already has a hive on the way, Vipers are being built as well. This Hasuing is going to backfire right now, and Bunny is actually going to miss a timing that perhaps he had during this transition, because he stayed so calm, he played it so slow. Look at this, beautiful links, trying to take out any reinforcements that might make their way across the map. Fort base does get taken out, which is a semi-big deal. Not a huge deal, but like a semi-big deal. Like, it's okay. We can live with it. We can live with it if we're Serral, and we're fine with it if we're Bunny as well. Like, it's nice damage, but this is a real issue. The 2-2 over here, the Vipers as well, sucking the energy from this hatchery. It's looking dire here for Bunny, that's for sure. It's looking very, very dire here for Bunny. He probably wants to go back home, max out a little bit more, because at this point he knows probably that his opponent, yeah, he saw the hive, he's like, okay, my opponent most likely is going to max out. Let me just get my reinforcements together, get everything together that I have, and make another push. And he needs to win one fight all at once. He's like, I have one chance for this fight, and if I don't win there, I lose the game. But if I win there, I win the game, because that's how winning works. Uh-oh, is not quite ready here with the siege up. Big Blinding Cloud is hitting absolutely every single tank except for one. Couple of Biles actually getting more connections than I thought they would. Banelings getting some hits in as well. There's still 5 tanks. Final Liberator will get taken out though. We still have some energy. Yep, that's another big Blinding Cloud. Oh my god. All of these tanks in so much trouble right now. Bunny absolutely getting blasted here in this game as Serral showing what dominance looks like, and this is dominance with a capital D. Oi, 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 oi. Tanks getting destroyed over here. Medivacs are still in the air. Yes, the supply... No, actually, supply also looks terrible. I was going to say it doesn't look so bad, but it does look absolutely garbage here for our Terran player who's microing his heart out, but microing your heart out just means that you don't have a heart anymore. GG gets called as Serral takes game number 2. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me thrice. That isn't going to happen. We won't get fooled again as he sends out the SCV to scout whether it's going to be a pool first or not. He sees that it's a hatchery first. So Serral mentally so far ahead right now. It's actually crazy to think about how far ahead he is. Imagine playing pool first twice, not getting scouted a single time. Then the third game you play hatch first and your opponent SCV scouts. If I were Bunny, I would have left the game already. The Korean Terran players right now in shambles all around the world, just looking at this. The absolute scenes that we're witnessing here has never been seen before. This drone is being blasted off a little bit. It's not the end of it. Oh! Okay, now Serral's supposed to leave. If you lose a drone to a Reaper, a rumor on the street is that you're forced to tap out. This is what I've heard though. I'm not too familiar with the Zerg and Terran customs, but that's the rumor on the street. Another rumor on the street here is that Bunny is opting for another 2-base opener once more. Quick 2 gas before we see that third CC go down. Kind of showcasing a willingness to go for the aggressive options here. And I think he's done this every single game. I mean, last game was a CC first into an actual 2-base all-in. First game was just a regular 2-base opener, but then he got Roach attack there. This could be his world famous... not his world famous tiramisu, but his world famous Marauder Hellbat all-in that he has been playing an insane amount of times. Look at this Reaper. Oh my god, almost got it. He forced 2 more spores out and loses the Reaper, but that's kind of big, honestly. I enjoy that thoroughly. I do really like that. Okay, it's not going to be the Marauder all-in. It's not going to be his world famous tiramisu after all. It is going to be a Banshee with Cloak. So a more standard approach here, a very safe approach as well, coming out of Bunny. Which is weird, because he's kind of known as a... I don't want to say an unsafe player. I describe his playstyle as someone crossing the road with a blindfold. Okay, that's actually kind of unsafe. Yeah, he usually plays unsafe, actually. He just does aggressive things. You know, he does things, he does them fast, and he does them very, very decisively. Yeah, he's not afraid of the consequences whatsoever. He'll eat the consequences real fast. And that's what makes him such an exciting player to watch a lot of time. Look at him go. Bam! Hellions just... Ooh. He wanted to go, though. You saw that? He moved around, was like, hey, can I go here? And then Serral said, no, actually I have 2 queens in position. You can't, because it's not allowed. Ooh. Poof. There's one tumor that gets sniped. Second tumor, jump in as well. Beautiful stuff here out of Bunny. Very decisive with his Hellion movement. Gets to snipe 2 tumors. Now moving in with 6 Hellions. Wants to perhaps try and take out one of these queens. Is dealing a significant amount of damage here. And Serral actually going to be forced to back up. Oh my god. This crude tumor gets killed in the splash as well. This is some great stuff here coming out of Bunny. I'm a fan of how this is looking personally. I really do like that. Banshee coming in at the same time with the Cloak finishing as well. Will be capable of dealing... No! Hello? Could have definitely killed something here, no? Bunny decides that maybe there wasn't a spore in the natural, but Serral is the type of player that builds spores equally across bases. He says if one base doesn't have a spore, you're not safe. You're as safe as the weakest link is of your bases. That's a Serral quote from 2019. I don't know if people will remember that. This is an interview with ESPN. People at ESPN had no clue what he was talking about. That's okay. That's just the mainstream media for you, isn't it, guys? Freaking ESPN. Never reporting accurately when it comes to esports. Unbelievable. What is this? 5 cars. 2 Banshees. And a 3rd base. It sounds like a TV show title from the late 90s. 2 guys, a girl, and a pizza place. Dharma and Greg. That 70s show. 2 Banshees, 5 cars, and a command center. I could see it happen. Would be a terribly boring show, though, because all of them are just chilling in the exact same position. Now, if they were smoking weed half the time, you basically have that 70s show, but that's not the case. Double Evo chambers are being thrown down. Serral seems to be opting for a... seems to be going into Lingbane Hydra here with that 5th gas coming out as well. We have 5 barracks coming out of our Terran player, who has a single tank out and is still running around with these cars as well, pretending like he can deal some damage. Serral's having none of it though. Look at these splits here on the links every single time. He's moving forward, moving back, splitting again, resplitting. God, it's so much work. Should have been a Protoss player. You just stand next to a battery. You can't take any damage, my friend. Don't worry about it. Burrow being researched. Oi, 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 oi. Serral with the Baneling burrows. We've seen a different Serral here today, it feels like as well. I mean, 2 cheesy little build orders in the first 2 games. First game, a Roach all-in. Second game, an 8 Link flood. Like, this is... It's been a treat to watch, and I like it when Serral switches it up. I always felt like his one weakness was his boringness, his lack of diversity in openers, really. But he's really shown in this series that he's capable of a lot of different things. And yes, sometimes it doesn't work out, but it makes him a more dangerous player. It forced Bunny to SCV scout in this game, whereas a lot of the time it feels like people don't really respect Serral when it comes to these all-ins. Centrifugal Hook's about to finish up. Look at his timing as well. That is beautiful. Perfectly timed. This depot is still down as well, and all of these SCVs are going to get blasted right now. Oh, we could even get a burrow here on some SCVs in 13 seconds from now. This army is going to get F2'd back home as well at the same time. This depot is going to get busted down. No, Serral. What are we... Oh, yes, Serral, I mean. That is beautiful. Look at that. All of these Marines getting taken out. Tank falls as well. 10 SCVs go down. Worth it? Most definitely worth it. Yes, sir. Fort base is still building. The worker count for Serral is surprisingly low. This almost felt like a Dark-esque attack. You know, something Dark could do. Dark would have 2 hatcheries in the main base right now, though. A 5th, a 6th, and a 7th base done as well at the same time. And 2 halfway finished with ultras on the way. So Serral not quite on the level that Dark is at when it comes to spending resources, but you know, he's trying his best. Apparently Serral doesn't require the extra macro hatches. Interesting stuff. Creep thread is fabulous though, look at that, holy cow. Ooh, sheesh. Puff, puff. Puff, puff, puff. I really like the way this looks for Serral, honestly. Bunny in a world of trouble right now. And that's a world that Bunny doesn't really enjoy being in. The world of trouble. He prefers Mario world. And a world where he's winning. And he's in neither of those. There's no coins to be gathered. There's no green mushrooms here, my friend. Also no flamethrower mushrooms. It's a dangerous world, by the way. You hit your head somewhere and all of a sudden you have the ability to throw fireballs at unsuspecting turtles. Sadistic game. Not very animal friendly either, good old Mario. Don't know what type of animal the Goomba is, but all I'm saying is that if I was part of the Goombas, I would not be too fond of the plumber family. Mario and Luigi, these guys, they have it in for them. It's not even like the turtles and the Goombas are that aggressive, right? They're actually relatively idiotic. They fall off cliffs, or they just bounce in between 2 pipes, just minding their own business in their natural habitat. Just like these drones are, as they're being dropped on top by these mines. Poof, poof. 7 drones get taken out. Here we have Lynx. I'm not sure what these guys are doing. We're just patrolling in the main base. We have Vipers already being built. 13 more drones being constructed as well. 2-2 on these Evo chambers also coming out. Right. What is that? That was 18 kills on one Widow Mine. That's what that was. And meanwhile, this tank also on 28 kills. 2-2 upgrades already on this Lingbane. Is Serral actually going for a 2-2 Lingbane Viper push? It is possible. I said it was going to be Lingbane Hydra, but instead he just used that gas to tech into Hive pretty quickly. Now we see an Ultra Cavern and a very late Hydra then. Maybe still for Lurkers, but I had expected quicker Hydralis in this composition already, and we're not getting that quite yet. So we're seeing Adrenal Glands, we're seeing some creep denial as Bunny is continuing on. Actually managed to, with that mine hit and I guess some other things that I can't quite recall happening, he managed to actually get into a decent position. It felt like Serral was way further ahead than this, or should be way further ahead than this, but that's not quite the case. This 4 mine drop is going to just head towards that left side base again. I'm not a huge fan of it. There's a spore there. There's a spore everywhere. So, I mean, there's going to be vision. And this works if you're playing against Harstem's off-race after he's had 9 tequila shots, but like, Serral is a pretty decent player with good map vision, with the ability to always respond in time. So let's just take a look at his response time here to that drop. Is he seeing it? Yes, he is. He clicked there immediately. Look at that. The absolute speed of this guy when it comes to looking at the minimap. He sees everything. Parasitic Bomb Boys moving in position. Oh, he's not actually looking right now at that base. Is going to end up losing way less workers than he should have, obviously. Loses only 4 against 4 mines. This has to be the worst targeted shots of a lifetime. This one gets 4 kills by itself. Serral continues fine. Let's just stick in first person here for a little bit. I don't have to move the mouse anymore. And on top of that, it's also pretty fun to watch. How does Serral want to engage this? Does he want to engage this? Wants to first trigger some of these mines. There's still some mines. He's just spotting where they are right now. Saying, hey, okay, one over here, one over here, one over here. Do you have any more? You probably do. Doesn't have any army pre-split though, and is now struggling dealing with the right side as well as trying to deal with the left side at the same time. Is losing a base over here. Is going to be stuck on 5 bases with 95 workers. That is not great in this 12-minute game already, as his main and his natural are about to run out. Parasitic bombs are going to be cast here most likely on these medevacs. Medevac count is falling down pretty rapidly. This one is also about to die, and this is a very clean up here coming out of Serral. So once again immediately going to pop more of the Viper energy from the hatchery and taking a bit of a lead again. I think that actually I was gonna say maybe Serral can just focus on denying a 5th base, but if he stops this drop from actually dealing any damage, Serral gets to stay alive. I almost feel like a bust on a fort base could be possible here. I mean, there's still plenty of creep nearby that you have a bit of a launching pad. This also needs to be stopped. Then if Serral can kind of get all of his forces together in one big blob, there is potential here, isn't there? Overseer will take out that one mine. Everything right now is getting pushed back, and I think this is a setup, actually. I think this is a setup that could have some potential. It's very rare we see Zergs get to move across the map at this time of the game. This is pre-Ghost still. Usually Zergs try to hit either before a Terran is maxed, or before, or well, like the transition into Ghost is happening, or has already kind of happened. And here Serral is going in right now. There's no Vipers with this, which means that the Planetary is going to be a fantastic help. And I think that Serral will need to kind of abandon this idea temporarily. The 5th base denial, however, will continue with burrowed links blocking every single base. I love the way that Yuna Sautala is playing in this game. It's another big mine shot. It's going to connect with a lot of links. A lot of cancels there on the banelings. Will be slightly, well, a little bit costly. Not too much, of course. These banelings are insanely cheap for what they do. This one will also need to be cancelled or will just get taken out. I believe that if banelings actually get killed while they're morphing and not cancelled, you shouldn't get the money back. That's ridiculous. It also shouldn't be the case in buildings. Things need to be manually cancelled. You can't just lose it and then get your money back. That is stupid. Poof. 7 workers going down here. Just wondering what the plan is going to be moving forward. There's still 2 Vipers, which could gather some energy right now from the main hive. That's indeed what they're doing. We have these anabolic synthesis, we have the chitinous plating, we have +1 range, we have a lurker then coming in as well. And we have double expansions being sent over for Bunny. I feel like he's kind of spreading himself a little thin when it comes to that regard, you know? Is it really necessary to expand to 2 bases at the same time? I feel like the answer is no. We also have an insanely slow transition into Ghost. Can we just note that here for a second? How slow this transition has been into Ghost. Just like in that first game, we're just seeing so many Marines still in this army comp. Doesn't feel really necessary. Can we get a retarget on those mines? No, we can't. There's almost no mines remaining. Flank coming in from that left side as well, but it's ill-timed. Don't think it's going to matter, though, as this is going to get cleaned up. Is it? Is it, though? Is it? Yeah, Marines are still being taken out by these banelings. There's still a couple of them bad boys around. This fight overall felt good for Serral. Resources lost, not looking brilliant, but the worker count is really nice. And I think with the follow-up push, there's some potential to perhaps kill this 5th base, which is honestly starting to become a little bit more vital at this point. I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, actually, yeah, we probably want to take out that 5th. Look at the cash. I think I might have misjudged that last fight. That might have actually been completely fine here for Bunny. Was I wrong? For thinking that we could be something for real. It's possible that I was wrong. Huh. Look at this. I really thought that was a fine fight for Serral. I thought he could remax quicker. I completely underestimated how little cash or how little larva he actually had ready to go. I thought he had way more cash. It felt like he had like 1200 in the bank, but I'm sorry, I might have misread that then. I guess Serral also wants to make a transition into a more Hydra-focused army and go into the more cost-efficient lurkers rather than just throwing banelings at the problem. I kind of like that approach against someone that tends to be so low on Ghost, which, let's face it, Bunny has been very low on Ghost. Only 6 so far this game. He was low on Ghost in the other games as well for a long time. Now these mines are going to get taken out. There is a tank at home. Tank counts only at 1 as well. There's really no backbone to this army. This is a spineless army. This is interesting. Look at this infestor. Serral's so good at these sharky infestors. These sneaky little pricks. Sneaky little pricks. Poof. Poof. 3 mine shots, not a single queen dead, and they just heal each other. Incestuous bunch. Just constantly throwing transfuses on each other. It's a little bit messed up. Whoop. That command center is going to get taken out as well. 10 medevacs out on the map. Good lord. 44. Who builds 44 Marines into an 18-minute game? That is not okay. Especially with the lurker count that we see out right now. Here comes a scan. We'll take out that infestor. This is an attack. This is an attack and a half. And I don't quite think that Bunny is ready for it. Well, he's definitely not ready for it. He's nothing. No tanks, no liberators, no mines in position. Ghost completely caught off guard as well over here. There's still 8 lurkers remaining. 5 ghosts are around and might be capable of doing something. This is just such a hard position to break right now. Left side is mining already for Serral, and what felt like a playable position here for Bunny quickly turns around into honestly a horrific position as these lurkers moved into a spot where Bunny's army really couldn't contest. The question now for Serral is, do you want to run up a ramp? Do you just want to sit here kind of in this valley between these three ramped areas? I'm not sure if Serral even has a clue on what he wants to do. Surely Bunny shouldn't be attacking into the lurker spot though. That's the one thing that I do know. And maybe Serral is just completely content with holding that spot and now moving towards the right side. Huge call. I like that so much. That's a really nice play actually. I'm a fan of that. I really am a fan of that. Viper's gonna fly into a mine and take a hit to the face right away. 20 workers are being taken out as well as that base in general. That was a great trade there for Serral. He's only on 77 workers, but with trades like this, who needs money, right? Still only down 7k in the resources lost. He's going to be up, well, 3 bases at this point. 7 bases against a mere 4. Orbital is going to be sent over. The one thing that I think I kind of want to criticize here what Bunny is doing is the lack of orbital commands in every single game. He's just so low on orbitals and low on workers at the same time, which means that yes, he's going to get pretty powerful armies, but if he loses an army, he's really struggling reproducing that. He's also lacking scans at times, understanding what the army comp of his opponent looks like, just getting general detection against lurkers, of course, as well, is definitely sucking. Look at his bailing bombs, not gonna go off. Serral a little bit too slow there. I think it is fair to critique him there. I understand that his playstyle is different and he's focused at these quick, high-paced, momentum-based games, but I feel like in this game, the momentum had left the building a while ago, you know, and he still believed it was alive, like a fanatic, like a frantic Elvis supporter, but no, my friends, the momentum was gone, just like Elvis has left the building a while ago. Bottom right side still hasn't been secured. Yeah, even if you secure a base right now, it's not like you're throwing down 25 mules and, you know, you're boosting your eco into like the 3.5, 4k mineral type of area, like into those ranges. No, you're gonna throw down 2 mules and you might get 1.6, 1.7k minerals a minute. That is it, and it's not going to be enough. It is simply not going to be enough if you even ever get to land it. Now we do see Bunny continuously pushing in here. He is pretty much all in with this. This is pretty much it, and Serral, he doesn't even really need to defend this base. He wants to, and he can, but he doesn't really need to. He says, yeah, I think I can just kind of move my units over here and push it back, right? And Bunny's like, no, yeah, but perhaps. There's not enough anti-air to deal with these liberators, but all the other ground forces are just going to get taken out. Parasitic bomb gets cast over here. As the Hydras move forward, the Queen, yep, will be capable of taking it out as well. 153 supply against 97. There's a lurker, 4 Hydra and a 4 Baneling force knocking on Bunny's door over here on that left side. And they accidentally knocked down the door. The type of insurance salesman I don't want to have on my door. If you don't open up quick enough, he barges in. It is insurance that you don't need. These medevacs need to evacuate, and honestly, this is pretty much over for Bunny. I appreciate him staying in, giving me a little bit more time to talk, but yeah, this is pretty much it. Serral wins game number 3, wins the series. A cheesy series, an interesting series that turned into some late games. Especially that first game, I think, was very, very good. Truly did enjoy this. This last game had its moments, but, you know, at the end of the day, it felt like Serral just a little bit too dominant when it comes to this late game. Bunny not quite up to the task. That is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks so much, and bye-bye.